Okay, so you know when you're facing something big and new, maybe a complex project or just trying to get your head around a huge amount of information.
Oh, definitely. That feeling of just, where do I even start?
Exactly. It can feel like standing at the bottom of a mountain. How do you even begin to organize it all, bring some order to the chaos?
Yeah, that sense of overwhelm is pretty common. But what's interesting, and we see this in the sources you pull together, is that people have actually figured out ways to think about this, methods for tackling different kinds of challenges.
Right. And that's really what we're diving into today. We've looked at your sources on how people structure these kinds of tasks, often called, well, project management methodologies. Our mission here is basically to unpack three main ways of doing things: predictive, agile, and hybrid. We want to get what they are, how they work, and maybe most importantly, when each one is really the right tool for the job. Kind of get the core ideas fast.
Sounds good. So let's start with the first one the sources talk about, predictive. You often hear it called waterfall, right?
Yeah, waterfall. That rings a bell.
The basic idea here is planning everything up front, like everything. And then you just execute that plan step by step.
Right, very plan-driven, as they say. The sources really emphasize how the scope, the schedule, the budget, it's all defined super early on and then managed really tightly.
Exactly. It's linear. You finish phase one completely, then you move to phase two. You can't really go back easily. Think of it like deciding exactly where you're going and the exact route before you even turn the key in the car.
Okay, blocked in.
Pretty much. And the strength of predictive, according to the sources, is that control. Minimizing uncertainty before you start. You know exactly what you're building, how you plan to build it, but that really requires clear, stable requirements from the get-go.
Right. So when would you actually want this kind of strict upfront approach? When is it the best bet?
Well, it shines when what you need to deliver is really well understood, stable, unlikely to change much. And when the process itself is predictable, maybe the risks of changing things midway are just too high or too expensive. Like the sources mentioned building a bridge.
Ah, yeah. Can't really change the bridge design halfway across the river.
Exactly. Or, large-scale manufacturing. Predictive gives you that needed control and documentation for things like that.
Makes total sense. But, okay, what happens when you can't define everything perfectly up front? What if the destination isn't totally fixed or you're not sure the best way to get there?
Well, that's where Agile comes in. It's a fundamentally different philosophy, really. Instead of trying to eliminate all the uncertainty first, Agile is actually designed to, embrace it.
Embrace uncertainty. Okay, how does that work?
It's iterative and incremental. So you work in these short, rapid cycles. You build something small, you get feedback on it, and then you use that feedback to decide what to do next.
Interesting. So the focus totally shifts. It's not about sticking rigidly to the initial plan. It's more about adapting as you go. Continuous feedback driving things.
Precisely. You deliver value in small chunks, you learn, you adjust. The whole point is making sure that what you end up building is actually what's needed, even if that need changes along the way.
And the big benefit there is speed, getting something useful out quickly and being able to pivot.
Yeah, speed to value and flexibility. The sources are clear. Agile is great when the final product isn't totally defined. Or maybe the market changes fast, or user needs evolve.
Like building a mobile app. I think the sources use that example. You kind of need to get it out there, see how people use it, and then tweak it based on real feedback.
Perfect example. Yeah. Software development, marketing campaigns, even research projects, anywhere. Innovation and flexibility are really key.
Okay, so we have the very planned predictive and the very adaptive agile. What about stuff that's kind of in the middle, not totally known, but not completely up in the air either?
Good question. That leads us straight into hybrid project management. And it's pretty much what it sounds like, taking bits from both predictive and agile.
Ah, a mix and match approach.
Exactly. You tailor it. You might use a more predictive style for the parts of the project that are well-defined and stable, but then you use agile for the elements that have more uncertainty or where you really need that rapid feedback loop.
So you get the structure where you need structure and the flexibility where you need flexibility.
You got it. It's about blending them consciously. Maybe you set a high-level scope or a fixed deadline using predictive thinking, but then the actual day-to-day work, the detailed execution inside that frame, happens in agile sprints.
Okay, that makes sense.
The sources gave a neat example. Developing a complex medical device, the hardware part, super regulated, needs precise planning that might follow a strict predictive path.
Right, needs to be safe, documented.
Exactly. But the software that runs on it, the user interface, new features, that might need user feedback, innovation. So that part could be developed using Agile methods.
Using the right tool for the right part of the job. I like that. So stepping back and looking at all three predictive, agile, hybrid based on these sources, the big takeaway seems pretty clear. There's no single right way for every single project or, learning task.
Absolutely not. It's completely contingent, as they say. It really depends on the nature of the challenge you're facing.
Is it stable and known like that bridge? Predictive might be your friend.
Right. Or is it dynamic, evolving, like that mobile app? Then maybe Agile is the way to go.
Or does it have bits of both, needing that tailored blend? Then hybrid could be the answer.
Exactly.
Okay, so thinking about this whole spectrum, predictive, agile, hybrid, and when the sources say each is most valuable, here's maybe a final thought for you listening. The next time you face a project, or even just a big learning challenge, maybe pause for a second. Think about its nature. How much do you know up front? How likely is it to change? How important is getting early feedback? Based on that, which of these ways of thinking, or maybe what combination, feels like the best fit to help you navigate it effectively?